Hi, Phil. So today the big conversation is about quoting large bill of material. I recall back in the 1986 when I started working for GE. Of course, you have more time in the industry than I do, right? But just going back to 1986, I remember I have to help out to quote, a long bill of material, and we have like a 100, 200 lines. And I was like, oh no. Every time you get one of those ones, you were like, this is too much. And I remember back then, we have to do it manually. So you get all the RFQs from vendors and putting together, and then by hand and putting gross margin and loading to the Excel and give it to the outside salespeople. And then you hope for the best, right? I don't know. What was your experience or lately in long, bill of material quotes?
Um, uh, Very similar. I think, typically when an end user is looking for a large bill of materials, they're either a very significant customer that has decided to bid out their entire annual contract, or there is a major project,
Yeah.
a new airplane, a new something that they've got to pull together all this so they can calculate their costs.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, you get selected to give them a number because you are presumed to have some portion of the materials that they're looking for. But it frequently includes not only all the stuff you sell, but all the stuff everybody else sells. And so there's some portion of it that you deal with at the core, and then there's other portions that you deal with at the margin. And so I think excellent point. If you have to source a price for, 20% of it, it takes more time than it does to get the 80% that you actually sell every day.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's amazing that in 2021, I still seen a lot of distributors doing manual pricing. I mean, I know that a lot of the owners will feel that pricing is the secret sauce, and they can, do the pricing. But when you have a distributor or a manufacturer, we have, 3, 5, 10 inside sales or outside sales, everyone making up their own pricing. I think there's a recipe for disaster, right, in terms of gross margin. And I think there is a better way. I mean, in order to make that happen. And as you said, I don't know, depending on the quote, maybe 50% of the items are items that you already carry or you stock or you have information from, and maybe let's say 50% are new. So on the ones that are stuff that you need to source, that you need to send out, RFQs to the vendors. But on the other 50% that you have pricing, I mean, we discussed this in the past. I mean, what would be your advice in terms to make sure that 50% of items that you have already in your system, you can win those ones?
Well, at the end of the day, what we're really talking about is system pricing.
Yeah.
And so if you're comparing the time it takes to deal with coming up with all the pricing manually versus being able to download it from your system or record it from your system, huge difference in terms of speed. And we talk about speed killing. Now, in the case of a big quote like this, there's generally some time given so that you have time to gather the data and present it. But it's also time that your inside people are spending to do the quote. And so when they're focused on that, they're not answering their daily calls. They're not dealing with their regular customers. And so you want this process to be as condensed as possible. And system pricing really does a lot to help you with that.
Yeah, and we have several customers that they moved from Excel sheets and paper and so forth to using their current ERP system to create this pricing to their customers. And the beauty about this is that everyone wins, right? I mean, the customer wins because they get a faster quote, so they can make a decision or they can bid that job faster. For the distributor because they can win more business, and I think that's the game of the name. And of course, the manufacturers, because at the end they know that they can have a distributor that is trustworthy and is able to, get some business going on. I mean, if distributors still, back in the 1980s, just sending Excel sheets and with hand. The probability to, be successful in this environment is quite low, I would say.
You're right. And, my experience has never been very good at capturing them. And so I think another alarm that should go off is this a regular customer of ours? Because sometimes they're just fulfilling an obligation, maybe to the federal government that has to, you have to bid this to X number of contractors or whatever. So anything that helps you with the efficacy of ending that activity is a good thing. And Intuilize can help you do that.
Yeah. And you brought a great point there. I mean, I recall working for a distributor in California. Depending on the day of the month and on the month, your pricing might fluctuate, right? I recall where we were really pushing to get some bookings, and you were like, well, instead of this percentage, that percentage, oh, this is a big package. Let's follow. Let's bid it to win it. Just kill this one. And it just depends on how you feel. I mean, some days you feel really cocky about it and you were like, it doesn't matter. But other days you were like, well, I feel strong about this pricing. So we as a humans tend to, I would say, imprint on our pricing how we feel that day, how is the owner or the salesperson. And I think, as you said, having that pricing in the system recommended really help out, distributors to do the best one out there. So speed, accuracy, and winning more business. So if you guys are interested on getting that in your company, we can help you in Intuilize.